Welcome in. The Saints beat the Buccaneers 31-24 in an NFC South showdown. I want to say one thing. If you're Bruce Arians, Byron Leftwich, Jameis Winston, you owe an apology to Mike Evans. Mike Evans held without a catch. Only 3 targets in today's game. You've got to get the football to Mike Evans. How do you not get the football to Mike Evans? He's way too talented of a receiver. I understand Chris Godwin had a good game. I understand you got to spread the ball around and you can't just target one receiver. The Buccaneers have to find more creative ways to get Mike Evans involved in this offense, or you'll continue to see what happened today. What happened today? Teddy Two Gloves Bridgewater outdueled Jameis Winston. Bridgewater had 4 touchdown passes, a career high. It was the first time Bridgewater had thrown for more than 200 yards in a game since 2015. Let me say that again. It's the first time in a football game that Teddy Bridgewater had surpassed 200 passing yards since 2015. I think the Saints deserve a tremendous amount of credit for really protecting Bridgewater. Where was Shaquille Barrett? In the first 4 games, Barrett had 9 sacks. He was held to 1 tackle today. And certainly the Saints offensive tackles deserve credit. The coaching staff deserves credit. You saw in a lot of formations that Barrett was getting double and triple teamed. But the Saints able to completely control this game. And again, Bridgewater throwing for 314 yards, 4 touchdowns. He only had 1 interception. You compare that with Winston's stats. Winston was 15 of 27 for 204 yards passing and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions for Winston. But again, if you're the Buccaneers, what about O.J. Howard too? Tight end O.J. Howard. He had 1 reception for 10 yards. The first round pick, it's almost as if these guys have regressed. And I don't know if they've been regressed or if it's a coaching thing where they're not being put in the right situations to be able to succeed. And certainly you have to credit the Saints defense for being able to shut a lot of these guys down. And, again, I mentioned Chris Godwin. Godwin had a great game. 7 receptions, 125 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And maybe a lot of that has to deal with the attention that Mike Evans receives on the outside if he's getting double teamed. But he's way too talented. You only target him 3 times and he has no receptions. Mike Evans is the team's best offensive player, and they're not able to get him the football. From a coaching standpoint, good coaches put their players in a position to succeed, and you've got to figure out creative ways of how to get Mike Evans the football. And it's that simple. And again, Teddy Bridgewater with a career day against Tampa Bay. And a lot of people were saying that this Tampa Bay roster, that the defense under Todd Bowles was really starting to figure it out. I didn't see it today in a pivotal NFC South game against a division rival. And now the Saints standing at 4-1, a 3-game winning streak in Tampa Bay, now at 2-3. And it shows how critical that game was that the Buccaneers lost earlier this season to the New York Giants when all Matt Gay needed to do was make a 34-yard field goal against New York. And the Buccaneers right now would have a winning record. Because even without Drew Brees, New Orleans looks like one of the best teams in the NFC so far in this young season. And certainly they look like the favorite in the NFC South, as now the Saints stand at 4-1 coming off this victory today. But again, how in the world do you not get Mike Evans the football? Jameis Winston, Byron Leftwich, Bruce Arians, I blame all of them. And you know what, too? I blame the offensive line as well. Winston was sacked 6 times in today's game. Bridgewater was not sacked in today's game. There's a huge, and you know what? You can say a lot of times when a lot of sacks pile up, sometimes you have to question, okay, is it all on the offensive line? Is the quarterback holding on to the football too long? 6 sacks against Winston for the Saints defense. The Buccaneers did not have a single sack today. And again, the Saints completely shut down Shaq Barrett today too. completely shut down Shaq Barrett today. And again, kudos to the offensive tackles. I think a lot of it, you get a tight end, a running back to help chip the defensive end to alleviate that pressure and to give Bridgewater more time to throw. But again, Bridgewater's first game surpassing 200 yards since 2015. It's not like this guy has played all that well, and maybe he just needed more reps. Bridgewater, a guy coming off several injuries and, really getting his shot here as a backup with Drew Brees' thumb injury going down and able to take care of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in New Orleans today. A road game, and New Orleans comes into this game favored. But again, if you're the Buccaneers, how do you not find a way to get the football to Mike Evans, your most talented offensive player? Even if he had caught all three of his targeted passes, only getting the ball to Mike Evans 3 times in a game, even if it's not throwing the ball downfield, finding creative ways to get him the football when he's your best offensive playmaker. He's a mismatch on the outside, given his size and speed. Only 3 targets. And again, O.J. Howard, too. This goes for O.J. Howard, too. O.J. Howard had 1 catch today, considering how promising he looked as a rookie. And the Buccaneers, it's just, is it the same old with them? And you're talking about a franchise with the second longest active playoff drought in the NFL behind the Cleveland Browns. And you see a game like today that really wasn't close at all at any point during the game. Unbelievable. If you guys have any comments or questions, feel free to weigh in. I would love to hear from you if you have any commentary that you want to add to this discussion. But again, from an offensive standpoint, if you only target your best player 3 times, you've got to figure out different ways to put him in positions to do something with the football. And the Buccaneers did not do that this afternoon. They did not do that this afternoon. Next up for both teams, the Buccaneers, as I pull up their schedule here, have the Carolina Panthers. That game will be played in London. So next Sunday, you have a 9:30 a.m. Eastern time kickoff in London. The Bucs and the Panthers in that one. And then as for the Saints again, now on a 3-game winning streak, go to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars next Sunday. That'll be a 1 o'clock kickoff as well. So we'll see where both of these teams go moving forward. But if you're the Buccaneers, and I've said this on this podcast in this discussion before on Berg is the Word, you have Drew Brees, who's out with a thumb injury. You have Cam Newton, who's ailing and has his own set of injuries in Carolina. Atlanta, their head coach is one of the favorites to get fired first. He's the second favorite behind Redskins coach Jay Gruden. I believe it's Dan Quinn in Atlanta. The NFC South is for the taking right now, and the Bucs unable to take advantage and to capitalize in today's game in their loss to the New Orleans Saints. Again, my name is Mark Bergin. If you enjoyed this discussion, feel free to share it on your timeline with your friends. I'm going to go ahead and sign off here and catch up on some more football. Hope all of you have a terrific rest of your Sundays. Take care. So long, everyone, and I'll see you next time.